Good evening from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. The racing world was saddened and shocked last week at the news of the passing of one of NASCAR's all-time greats in Kyle Busch. And Kyle was many things to many people. On track, Kyle was as fierce a competitor as they come. He would do anything it takes to get to victory lane. That could very well be what got him to the heights that he got to in his career. Over 22 full-time NASCAR Cup Series seasons, Kyle amassed 63 NASCAR Cup Series wins, good for ninth on NASCAR's all-time win list at the top level. And 2 championships in 2015 and 2019, the first of which under extreme circumstances after a devastating leg injury put him out for 4 months of the season. Kyle would come back, win multiple races, including the finale at Homestead, and win a most improbable NASCAR Cup Series title. And that probably was a microcosm of who Kyle was, always fighting every step of the way to get what he wanted, no matter the cost. And sure, it ruffled some feathers along the way. Kyle had many rivals across his 22 NASCAR Cup Series seasons, many of which became his friends in the twilight stages of his career. But ruffling feathers, being involved in rivalries, being in those heated moments, that is where Kyle Busch felt most at home, on the racetrack. That's just the start of his success. 102 wins in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He added on 69 more in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the most recent 2 weeks ago at Dover. And in that race, in the post-race celebration on the front stretch, Kyle said, "You just never know when the last one is." And those words speak for themselves, as that will be forever enshrined as Kyle's final NASCAR win across the 3 touring series. 234 total wins, the most of any man in the sport's history. A legacy that will never quite be matched up. Off track, Kyle was a devoted husband to his wife Samantha, a loving father to his 2 children, Brexton and Lennox. Specifically with Brexton, he was working on fostering Brexton's own blossoming racing career. And it almost seemed as if Kyle found more joy doing that, watching his own son take the same steps that he did. It almost seemed as if Kyle had more joy doing that than he did with his own racing career, which he'd had plenty of moments to be joyful over. Kyle and Samantha's charitable work with Bundle of Joy Foundation helped parents, aspiring parents, achieve the same dream that Kyle and Samantha got to in having children and starting their own families. And that work will continue as the foundation continues on strong to this day. It will just be a small part of Kyle's legacy. He was a son to Tom and Gay, a brother to Kurt Busch, a family man, one that we got to see a softer side of in the twilight of his career. His face lit up every time his family got mentioned, and it was a small part, a small vision into who Kyle Busch was. And finally, Kyle Busch was a team owner. An owner of Kyle Busch Motorsports throughout his career. Many drivers now in NASCAR's top 3 series attain their success to him. Drivers like William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Sunday night's Coke 600 winner Daniel Suarez all owe at least part of their success to Kyle Busch. His legacy both on and off track, whether it's through the drivers that he mentored and influenced, through his family that will continue to live on, through the many people that he touched, or through all of us race fans, it will live on for decades to come. That legacy will never quite be forgotten. Tonight, we race for more than just Good evening and welcome in the Challenger Cup Series regular season finale from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Sorry for the late start and the blip at the end of the tribute to Kyle Busch. A little bit of mechanical, or rather technical issues on my part, but nonetheless we are underway and racing. If you missed the tribute at the beginning of the show, we'll do it again at the end of tonight's race. But 160 laps on tap, racing for a little bit more tonight than just the points of the regular season finale. Racing to honor Kyle Busch, the man that he was, the racer that he was. And tonight we will pay tribute to him in the only way we know how, and that is to go racing. Harold Watkins started up front. He stays there after 3 laps. We'll come by the start-finish line, 157 to go. You see top left of your screen, 37 to go in stage 1 as the field rolls back down towards turn 1. Watkins looking for win number 2 on the season. He won back at Coda to start the year, or early in the year rather, in the month of March. In terms of the aerodynamics and horsepower package that we have underneath these Gen 7 race cars, so we'll see how that pans out over the course of the night. Watkins leads back to turn 3 for now, though. Over would-be Eldred, Trailer, Hayden, Little. That's the lead group, and then it's a bit of a gap back. Kevin Gunther, Rusty Modesty, Brandon Beauchamp, and company. Ryan Patty is in the 10th spot right now, the points leader. Has already locked up the number 1 seed as the chase starts next week in Nashville, but tonight, business to be attended to in the points standings. A number of drivers running tribute paint schemes tonight to Kyle Busch. Matt Hayden is one of them. The Kellogg's CarQuest colors aboard his car. Just in front of him, David Trailer carries Skittles on his Toyota Camry, both paying tribute to Rowdy and his legacy across 22 full-time NASCAR Cup Series seasons. A few drivers have different paint schemes on. We'll go through the field in just a little bit, tell you who else is paying tribute tonight. But a couple of drivers up here towards the front. Trailer, by the way, is on the move. He's up to 4th. And looking for 3rd on Cody Eldred early in this race. Kevin Gunther under attack from Rusty Modesty. Then it's Patty and Beauchamp. Patty just got by Beauchamp or the 9th spot a moment ago. Modesty to the inside of Kevin Gunther. This will be for 7. So that spot will change hands off turn number 4. New look for Ryan Patty tonight. It is still Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, a number of drivers choosing to pay tribute to Kyle Busch this week, and obviously for good reason. But Ryan Patty choosing to go with the Memorial Day colors, camouflage, aboard his number 30 machine, the Fast House Chevy. A slick look for him right in front of Ron Walters, who just took 10th from Brandon Beauchamp. Another driver running a Kyle Busch tribute paint scheme, Bill Gartner. Usually the Red Bull colors tonight, the 26 Dons M&Ms aboard his Chevrolet. As he currently runs back in the 12th position. Positive that anybody else has tribute colors on board. We'll keep an eye on those cars throughout the night. Watkins continues to lead, but it's the battle from second on back that continues to be the story right now. Already going to be 10 up and down when they cross by the start-finish line right here. Eldred to the outside of Clinton Woodby. This is for position number 2. Eldred still looking for win number 1 of his Challenger Cup Series career. Woodby looking for win number 3 of this 2026 season. David Trailer would be next up. He wants 3rd. He'll jump to the outside. Woodby slams the door. Well, Trailer runs about a half lane off the bottom anyway. He tries to cross over, getting some clean air. As Woodby crosses over on Cody Eldred, he wants the 2nd spot back as Harold Watkins scoots away. So Woodby gets that spot back. Trailer, by the way, appears to be the fastest amongst these 3 cars. Not the fastest on track. Fastest on track last time by was Andrew Little. Faster than even the leader, Harold Watkins, was. Giving it out on Ryan Patty. He is on par with the leader's times right now. In fact, Rusty Modesty, the fastest car on track that last time around. And Steve Potter gets a spot on Brandon Beauchamp as well. That's for 12. Meanwhile, Trailer on Eldred. This is for 3rd. David Trailer's run through the field continues. He works up to the 3rd spot. Rusty Modesty again got by Gunther. He's up to 7th. Last time by would be a little bit faster than the leader. Nobody else on par with those 2 cars at the front of the field. 28 to go, stage one. 160 laps, one of the longest races of the season, 240 miles. At the Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight, over half of the Cup race distance, or rather, over a third of the Cup race distance. Not quite going the full 300 that would get us to halfway. Back to the line, David Traylor starting to work on Clinton Woodby now for the second spot as Watkins opens up an 8-10 lead on the rest of the field. As the field works back down to turn 3, we continue to watch this, what was a blossoming battle for the second spot, as David Traylor's drive through the field continues, but it's Andrew Little who will get the spot first here on Cody Eldred. This will be for fourth as they run side by side back down to turn 1. Back off turn 4, Little and Eldred continue to run side by side, and Eldred will get the better with the defensive higher line. Woodby's not been able to gain a lot, so we'll go back here and battle for second as Traylor continues to work on him. Matt Hayden's gotten back to those two cars, by the way, making it a three-way battle for the fourth spot, Eldred, Little, and Hayden. Gunther got back around Rusty Modesty. That is for seventh. Gunther's best laps coming over the past couple, as he has run away from the 6 and the company behind him just a little bit. Ryan Patty has settled in right around the 9th position for the time being. But Ryan Patty is now the fastest car on track. He just got around Rusty Modesty as he looks to get win number 7 on the season. Of course, captured win number 6 last week at Dover. Looks to go to victory lane for the 7th time, this time around at Charlotte. Far and away the number 1 seed coming into tonight is Ryan Patty. Woodby and Traylor battle for the 2 seed coming into tonight. They were separated by just 18 points. We'll have to see if they continue to run this close. It would be Woodby second, then Traylor third. Then from there, an interesting battle for the 4th spot in points. Hayden, Eldred, Little, all separated by just 9 points. Back to Watkins, separated by just 15 points. A fun battle for the 4th seed in the standings. Again, about the top 5 or 6 drivers in the standings, from what we've seen in previous NASCAR chase formats, have a true chance at the championship with the points reset. Coming up next week at Nashville. So interesting to see who gets that. A few extra coveted bonus points. Continue to watch Ryan Patty. Meanwhile, battle for second up front. Traylor on the inside, Woodby on the outside. David Traylor trying to go to second. Traylor, a 2-time winner at Atlanta and Martinsville this year. Woodby, the winner of the season opener at Daytona and then at Talladega a month ago in early May. These two continue to run side by side down the back straightaway and back to turn 3. Andrew Little starting to close in on this battle. Andrew Little's got some decent speed tonight as well. Side by side is harming these two cars a little bit. Watkins has opened up a 1-second lead with just 20 to go in stage 1. The other battle tonight is for the final postseason spot. Coming into tonight's race, Steven Rasick took that spot away from Mike Martino. Martino is not in the field tonight, so he is essentially eliminated. But here's how the 16th spot pans out. Rasick is just 8 points ahead of Ron Walters for the final spot in the standings. Right now they're running both towards the tail of the field, but later on in the race, this could become a very interesting points scenario for both of those cars. With no Jimmy Fitzmaurice in the field, Gunther is 40 points back. It's not quite going to be attainable for him, but for Rasick and Walters, a lot more to race for tonight in terms of making the postseason. Andrew Little past Traylor, that's for third as Woodby continues to hold on to second. Little wants the second spot from Woodby next, though. As Watkins continues to maintain that lead for now, Matt Hayden watches from the popcorn seat. And Cody Eldred has fallen off just a little bit in the 6th spot. Ryan Patty is again up to 8th and continues to run the best laps in the field. Safe for Matt Hayden last time around a 30.31. Patty ran a 30.35. For reference, the leader Watkins ran a 30.61. Just keep an eye on Ryan Patty as this race continues. Already 23 laps in. The stage break is at the quarter mark. 160 laps on tap tonight. Little to the inside of Woodby. This is for second. Woodby runs that defensive high lane. Little gets a nice drive on the bottom of the racetrack. Will try to come up and side draft here down the back straightaway. He'll likely have to file back in line unless he dives to the inside. Does grab a little bit of side draft. He'll try to throw that car deep into turn 3. Slide up across the nose of Woodby. Has to jump in the brakes. Woodby back to the right rear. This is not helping these cars' case, by the way, for catching Harold Watkins. And now a 1.3 second lead. Matt Hayden has almost caught David Traylor. That is for the 4th spot, rather. Yes, it's likely it'll just be a matter of who gets how many stage points rather than who gets that final spot. Eldred continues to lose time on Hayden for 5th. This time by a little bit more favorable conditions for Andrew Little to throw the slide job into turn 3. But Woodby runs a little bit lower on the racetrack, although he does get a little bit tight there center off. Little almost got the spot that time around. He will slide up, move Andrew Little to position number 2 in the Waterford Concept Chevrolet. Woodby crosses over, thinks about a move back, can't do it. And that will be that for the battle for second for now. Andrew Little now will set his sights on Harold Watkins. Andrew Little looking for win number 1. Hasn't won since Bristol in the postseason in Season 2 of 2025. Meanwhile, further back, Matt Hayden on David Traylor. This is for 4th. Hayden to the inside, same as Andrew Little just did on Clinton Woodby machine a moment ago. Hayden will try to do here in turn 1. Traylor lets him go. Move Matt Hayden to the 4th spot. So the 5's got a little bit of late run speed. Kellogg's CarQuest Chevrolet. Kevin Gunther's almost caught Cody Eldred just behind these guys. This would be for the 6th position on the racetrack. Don't think Gunther will get to the stage point positions with just 13 to go with the line. Ryan Patty is closed in on these two. Points leader looking to add win number 7 out of 14 to his resume. Should be a stark stat line. I said last season that Ryan Patty would be a championship contender if he got to run all the races here in 2026, and safe to say that that has panned out as Patty came into tonight with a 189-point lead. Doing his best Tyler Reddick impression is Ryan Patty here. He'll jump to the inside of Cody Eldred. This is for 7th. And I doubt he will get to the stage points. He'll get awfully close, but I don't think he will get all the way to stage points. But he will certainly put himself in a really good position for stage 2 coming up in just a little bit. Harold Watkins continues to lead, although that lead has started to shrink as Andrew Little closes in. Matt Hayden starts to go to work on Clinton Woodby for 3rd. Little and Hayden appear to have some long run speed on board their Chevrolets. So we'll keep it here for the time being. Keep an eye on this developing battle for the 3rd spot. 10 to go in the stage when Harold Watkins comes back around to the start-finish line, which he will do right now. Just 10 laps remain in stage 1 at Charlotte. We'll go 120 to the end. A total race distance tonight of 160 laps, or 240 miles. Ryan Patty to the inside of Kevin Gunther. That was for 7th. Or rather for 6th. Move Patty to that spot. Charge continues. He might just get there. It's going to be close. believe he did the same thing he did last week at Dover and did not opt to qualify, which meant he started back at the back end of the field. For a driver of Patty's caliber, though, obviously that is not too much of a guardrail to overcome. Andrew Little has cut the gap down to 8/10 on Harold Watkins. I'm not sure he's got enough time to get all the way to Watkins' back bumper here, but certainly does appear to have some good long-run speed on board the Waterford Concepts Chevrolet. See, that pans out the longer stage 2. Stage 1 clean and green, by the way, to this point. We'll continue to keep an eye on the race between Ron Walters and Stephen Rasick. At the race we're in right now, Rasick would capture the final playoff position over Walters, or rather chase position over Ron Walters. Ryan Patty working on stage points. He's gotten there here with 6 to go in stage 1 and dives to the inside. May have packed air a little bit, shaped to Denny Hamlin this past week. Ryan Patty may have just packed a little bit of bad air on the spoiler of David Traylor and drives on by for the 5th spot. So move Patty into some stage points. Got a few extra bonus points to a ludicrous points total. Getting 14 races this year, rather 13 races this year, Patty scored nearly 700 points. 10 top 5s, 6 wins, 13 top 10s, 110 stage points. $39 bonus points for things like laps led. Hayden finally got by Woodby for 3rd. But they are both being run down by Ryan Patty. Meanwhile, Andrew Little has cut that gap all the way down to 6.5 tenths. Again, it will not quite be enough time to get there before the stage caution as Woodby crosses back underneath Matt Hayden and retakes 3rd. But Ryan Patty says, I'm on the scene. I'm going to take both of these spots to the inside of Hayden. This is for 4th. Imagine he'll get Woodby here next time, either this time by in 1 and 2 or next time by in 3 and 4. Little will not get there, but it does appear that the long run speed certainly is there for the 68. So we'll see again how that pans out later on. May not matter with Ryan Patty running the pace that he's running right now. 30:53 last time by for this man. Ryan Patty, he may get all the way to 3rd by the time it's all said and done here in stage 1. 2 to go for Watkins. And Patty right on the back bumper of Woodby, jumps to the outside. Power move up to the fence. Can he make it happen here with a big runoff too? He'll get a big drive down off the corner. Gas is up, drives right on by. See you later, says Ryan Patty, and he's up to 3rd. Incredibly impressive for Ryan Patty. Has to come off turn 4, 1 to go, stage 1. It's been all 40 wire to wire for Harold Watkins to this point. Ryan Cunningham works up against the outside wall. Watkins caught him at a bad spot. Little closing in quickly. It's not quite going to be enough to win the stage, but he's going to make this thing awfully close. Watkins back down to turn 1, or turn 3 rather. Off turn 4, and he'll come down to the start-finish line and capture the stage win. Harold Watkins wins stage 1 over Andrew Little, Ryan Patty, Clinton Woodby, and Matt Hayden as lap 40 goes on the board. We'll head into the caution flag for the first time in this race. Clean and green, no incidents to report on. And with that being said, as the field will come down pit road, we'll take a break and step aside. You won't miss a thing. More coverage of the Challenger Cup Series regular season finale from Charlotte Motor Speedway coming up right after this.
green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, we got the monkey is prime! This season, we are hydrated!
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on! Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway, where the lights have just gone out atop the iRacing.com pace car. And we will get ready to go green with just under 120 laps to go at Charlotte. Clean and green for the first 40. And this race gets into a green flag run. This thing will be done and over with before we know it. Harold Watkins continues to lead over Andrew Little, Clinton Woodby, Ryan Patty, and Matt Hayden. David Traylor runs 6th. Cody Eldred back in 7th. Greg Bourbonier is up to 8th. Bill Gartner is 9th. And Kevin Gunther is 10th. So we'll go back green. We got on lap 45, so 116 laps to go from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And the regular season finale for the Challenger Cup Series will set the field for the first ever chase in series history tonight. Day to night transition is underway, by the way. The lights are on and gleaming across these race cars, so we are headed into a nighttime transition, so we'll see how the track changes as well. Of course, tonight, how that messes with some of the cars and the handling of these Gen 7 race cars. Watkins will lead the field off turn 4 with Little to his right elbow, and we will get back to racing. With just under 3/4 of the way to go. Green flag back in the air. Watkins on the gas. Little didn't go. Spun the tires just a little bit, did the 68. And Clinton Woodby's going to benefit, say thank you very much, and drive all the way to 2nd on this restart. Little trying to maintain the outside. Ryan Patty and his tire tracks. Matt Aiden underneath the 30. That would be for 4th, but everything will single out here off turn 2. Trailer to the outside of Aiden. That is for 5th. He'll get that spot back down to turn 3. Watkins continues to lead for now. Woodby about a car length and a half in his tire tracks. Then Andrew Little behind them, and then Ryan Patty. Surely the man to watch here in stage 2. 115 laps to go. Patty underneath trailer. That's for 5th. rather for fourth, as Matt Hayden had a problem. Meanwhile, Andrew Little powers back underneath Clinton Woodby and gets the second spot back. Some serious speed for the Waterford Concepts Chevrolet. Back at the start-finish line, 114 laps to go in the race. Stage is already done and over with. Again, this race will go green to the end, barring any cautions for incident. Little pulling away from Woodby, trying to make up the ground to Harold Watkins and perhaps go grab the lead here. Ryan Patty, by the way, has been relegated back to the 5th spot, so unsure if that's from saving or what have you. Back to turn 1, Watkins has opened about a half-second lead over Little and the rest of the field. Not a ton of battling going on here on the racetrack. Clinton Woodby continues to run in the 3rd spot. Matt Hayden is on the bumper of Ryan Patty now, potentially for the 5th spot. So, again, unsure if something's gone awry on Patty's car here as the track is changing, as the sun goes down, or if perhaps he's just saving his equipment. Remains to be seen. Here off turn 2, Woodby going to be attacked by David Traylor here. This will be for 3rd as Ryan Patty looms just behind them. He got back around Matt Hayden just a moment ago. So Patty looms in the rearview mirror. He'll go all the way to the fence to Kyle Larson territory and rocket off turn 4 trying to get the run. Didn't do so there. So early in the run, the high lane not working so far, at least not all the way up by the fence. But Ryan Patty continues to run up there for now because now he's under challenge from Matt Hayden. Cody Eldred is just behind these guys, by the way, in the 7th position as this 5-car battle for 3rd continues on down the backstretch. Watkins continues to lead. The lead is held steady right between 5 and 6/10 of a second over Andrew Little, who it appears as the run goes on, his car gets better, so if he can maintain arm's reach with Harold Watkins, could be very interesting. Meanwhile, Ryan Patty is attacked for 6th by Cody Eldred, so the saving perhaps continues here for Patty. As Eldred will go by him, you could tell Patty lifting out of the gas comparatively a lot more than the drivers in front of him. Now, you don't want to get too far behind the 8 ball here and let Harold Watkins drive away for if a pit cycle comes around. So then you're in a bad spot when it comes down to pit strategy time. So Patty continues to run 7th for now, and he's managing his gaps to the race leaders. Up front, Woodby attacked by Traylor. This is for 3rd. Traylor a bit more of a short run car in this race to this point. Matt Hayden appear to be the same way. Traylor through to 3rd. Hayden through to 4th. Eldred may try to make it 3 for 1. Down the backstretch and into turn 3. Hayden underneath Woodby. Woodby lets him go. Matt Hayden grabs the spot. Eldred will now dive underneath. That is for 5th. He'll get the spot as well and cross up off turn 4. Let's see if this is saving from some guys towards the front of the field here, saving tires, saving fuel. We're not entirely sure. Coming in tonight, we have a 70% fuel load. Oh, big wiggle there for Traylor off turn 2. As I was looking at the schedule, he wiggles and goes all the way from 3rd back to 7th. He'll lose that spot to, almost lose it rather, to Kevin Gunther there in turn 3. Now Cody Eldred moves forward to 3rd as this hornet's nest continues to grow from 3rd on back. Again, perhaps some guys saving. 70% fuel load. It might very well make this a one-stop race, or it'll be very close. He'll continues to roll off into turn 3. By the way, the lead is ballooned up to 8.5 tenths for Harold Watkins, so he has pulled away just a little. No pun intended on Andrew. 55 on the board, 106 to go. Cody Eldred continues to hold off a hard-charging Matt Hayden here in the early parts of stage 2. I sound a little out of it tonight. It's obviously because I still am. It's a little bit tough to get back around racing after last week, but nonetheless, here we are. Back at Charlotte Kyle Busch's favorite racetracks over his career. He won a handful of his many wins across all three of NASCAR's top series here at Charlotte, including the 2018 Coca-Cola 600. Hayden around Eldred, that's for third. Meanwhile, further back, Clinton Woodby's dropped a couple spots to both Ryan Patty and David Traylor. Patty's on the move again, by the way, up from 7th to 5th over the last couple laps. Guy we haven't heard from a lot tonight so far, James Catrone, is working into this battle as well, as he's gotten all the way up to the 8th spot. So James Catrone starting to work into the picture. Just 3 laps away from 100 to go. 33 away from halfway, or rather 23 away from halfway. Again, this one will go very quickly if this race continues under the green flag, which this field has completely spread out. On the board, Watkins' lead is still 9/10 over Andrew Little. He's held it pretty steady there. Checking in on Stephen Rasick and Ron Walters. They continue to run 16th and 17th. Walters would need to gain some spots or have Rasick experience some misfortune along with a few other drivers to make up the points that it would take to get into the chase tonight. Trailer works on Patty. This continues to be the battle for 5th. Not really any other major battles happening on the racing surface right now. Everybody is pretty much spaced out. 100 to go at Charlotte. 60 up and down. Cross into the double digits next time by. Just 20 laps away from halfway. Lead has dwindled a little bit. Couple of tenths cut off by Andrew Little, and I wondered how this would pan out. If we got into a long run, if Andrew Little would be able to replicate that long run speed. He's already cut a couple of tenths off. The gap will continue. Keep an eye on that gap between those two leaders as this run continues on and works towards a pit stop, which inevitably will be coming at least one, if not 2 pit stops we'll be working on in this second stage. Watkins continues to lead. But Andrew Little starts to get bigger in the rear view. Almost 3 tenths cut off now from Little over the past 8 laps. Watkins looking for his first win since March at Coda. Little looking for his first win since September at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt Hayden will be looking for win number 1 since Talladega in October of 2025. Of course, I mentioned Cody Eldred looking for win number 1 of his career. Ryan Patty, meanwhile, looking for win number 6. Trailer would be other race winners. James Catrone has yet to win this season. Neither is Kevin Gunther. Or rather, Kevin Gunther has won. He won back in Bristol. Another tenth off. Andrew Little's got it inside 6/10 of a second. The battle for the lead starting to heat up just 15 laps from halfway. Remember last May here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it did not end the way that Harold Watkins wanted it to. You'll remember that late race dust-up between he, John Velocity, and Justin Malarkey at the end of this race. One of the most chaotic moments of the season last year. Watkins hoping tonight a little bit calmer than that. Would obviously love to walk away with a victory. Also has some points to potentially profit tonight. Hopefully be a good finish. Gap is down to 5.5 tenths. Andrew Little is closing in. 94 laps to go. This field is back down into turn 1. Battle back around David Traylor and Cody Eldred. Traylor had the 5th spot. Eldred wanted it. Continue to drag race side by side for now. Down to turn 3. Ryan Patty starting to pick up his delta just a little bit as well. He's picked up a few tenths on the leader. On board. With David Traylor, as his battle for 5th with Cody Eldred continues. Woodby's into this as well. Gap is inside a half a second for Andrew Little. He is within 4.5 tenths of Harold Watkins. Traylor got back around Cody Eldred. Now Woodby attacks him for the 6th spot. Continue to watch that delta left side of your screen close down further and further. From Watkins to Little, although now it widens out just a little bit. Closes right back up, and it's back inside a half a second. 91 to go. 10 laps away, or rather 11 laps away from halfway. Back to turn 1. Woodby gets around Cody Eldred. This is for 6th. Andrew Little continues to close in. You're on board with the man running second. He's moved up to the fence. Over in turns 3 and 4 now. Paying dividends for him on corner exit. You bet it is. Inside 4 tenths. Andrew Little's on the way. He's within 6 car lengths of the race leader. Trying for win number 1 of 2026 and sending him to the playoffs. Rather the chase. On the best note, he's already down to 3 tenths of a second. 4 car lengths separate the 2 leaders. This time, Watkins defensively moves to the top. Watkins has not run up there a lot tonight. Will it pay dividends for him the same way it did for Little? No. And Andrew Little's there. In one corner, he picked up 3 car lengths, and he's on the back bumper of the Ghost Chevy headed back to turn 1. Trying to aero block was Watkins. Little gets the uninhibited run off the fence. He's going to drive right to the back bumper of Harold Watkins back down to turn 3. Battle for the lead with 89 to go in Charlotte. Watkins looking for win number 2. Little looking for win 1 of 2026. Drives through the dirty air, trying to push through it. Gets a little bit tight off turn 4, has to lift out, and the gap is now again 3 car lengths. Again, these two will continue to race each other. The mental games continue. Which line do you block? It's not the top side for Watkins there either. He has continued to let Andrew Little get basically an uninhibited run off the fence, and that gets him right to the back bumper of the 3 car here back to turn 3. This time Watkins chooses to block low. Little gets the fence line that he wants. He'll be able to gas up earlier than Watkins can, and here he comes off turn 4. One of the best chances that he's had so far. 87 to go. 7 laps away from halfway. Back to turn 1. Watkins that time mirror drives, goes right to the fence, but did he push it too far? Little gasses up, crosses over, right to the back bumper. Here he comes on Watkins. Down the back straightaway, lean to the inside, trying to fake him out. Back to turn 3. Watkins mirror drives again, throws dirty air across the 68. Packs air, does Little, gets out of the gas, and drops 3, 4, 5 car lengths off the back bumper of Watkins. Watkins, a defensive masterclass once again. And he fends off Andrew Little for now. Matt Hayden, meanwhile, by the way, is starting to gain some ground on these two as well. With them racing, Hayden and Patty have started to work into this picture also. Little back high side. Be able to gas up earlier than Watkins can, and again he starts to close the delta back down. 85 to go at the line. 5 laps away from the halfway mark. Little back to the high side, Watkins back to the bottom. Here comes Little. The delta closes up again. Back under 0.2 of a second. Back to 2 car lengths. Back to turn 3. Little to the outside, running up near the fence. Watkins runs the bottom. Gives Little the line that he wants. Little may have had to lift out of it just a little bit in the middle of the corner as he bottomed out. Still gets a nice run off the corner, and here he comes. Back to 1.5 car lengths. Back to turn 1. Where does Andrew Little go right here? Back to the top. Watkins mirror drives. Leaves a lane up there. Little tries to drive it off the fence. You're on board with the leader now. Back down to turn 3. The gap again within 0.2 of a second. Where does Watkins go here at turn 3? To the middle, to the bottom. Little drove in the tire tracks, though. Tries to poke a headlight out and make it work. He's the faster car. Just has to make the pass happen. He's within draft range, though, with 83 to go, 3 laps away from the halfway mark. Back to turn 1. Watkins goes high. Little goes higher. He'll have a better run off that top side of the racetrack. He's been so good there throughout this middle portion of this race, but with Watkins running the middle, he can almost break even a little bit down off turn 2. Now he goes back to the bottom, though, and Little goes back to the outside. And here he comes again. Within 2 car lengths. Patty has gotten around Matt Hayden for 3rd, and now he's within 2 seconds of the leaders. This may be all for naught. Andrew Little, I think, is the fastest car on track, but he's got to find a way around Watkins here. Little's coming to pit road. It's the first pit stop of the night. Be about the 40-lap mark of this run. Might make it 35. That tells me it may very well be a 2-stop. Actually, it will definitely be a 2-stop. It's just going to be a matter of if it's a 3-stop for the leaders. It may very well be a 3-stop. Does Watkins answer the call here? Fire out of the pipes tells me he's going to hit the brakes and come to pit road. He's downshifting through the gears, and he's coming to pit road. Ryan Patty will inherit the lead. The only 2 cars to have come to pit road so far, Watkins and Little. Patty to lead, meanwhile, Trailer takes the provisional 2nd spot from Matt Hayden. Just past halfway. The lights are on, the sun is completely down, the track is now engulfed. And the bright lights. Does Ryan Patty answer the call this time around? 81 laps in? No. Trailer, no. Hayden, no. Gunther, no. Clinton Woodby already made his pit stop as well. He actually pit a lap earlier than the leaders and came out right of the bumper of Andrew Little. So potentially another driver entering into the chaos just a little bit. Gartner, Cunningham both on pit road, and it's going to work for Andrew Little. He's going to bypass Harold Watkins. So will Clinton Woodby. The ball now in the court of Andrew Little as he tries to hunt down win number 1 of 2026. Gartner, Racek, Cunningham all on pit road this time by. Patty stretching a little further. And if he could make it to about lap... really about right now, he should be able to only have 2 stops on this cycle. We'll see if that plays in as well, as Little and Watkins both came to pit road early. Steve Potter's on pit road this time by. Just 77 to go at Charlotte. Patty continues to stay out, as do a number of the lead lap cars. Continues to stay on the racetrack for now. 76 laps to go at the line. Nobody else coming to pit road. 1 car will. It's Kevin Gunther. That is on pit road this time. Another car dives off the racetrack. Now for sure, Patty can make it on just 1 stop after this one. So 2 total stops, including the one he's about to make right now. Andrew Little, Clinton Woodby, Harold Watkins. I'm not positive on those cars. That could really throw a wrench into this race. Patty bypasses again. Trailer bypasses again. Hayden bypasses again. As does Bourbonier. As does Eldred and Modesty and Catrone. about Brandon Beauchamp. Does he answer the call here? No. Ron Walters continues to stay out as well. The issue is this long strategy is not working in terms of track position. But it is working in terms of potential pit strategy. And again, we'll await to see exactly what that looks like when we get to about the lap 120 mark. But I mean, I would expect Little and Watkins on pit road as soon as lap 110. Whereas these guys here, they're going to be able to go until around lap 130. It's going to be a wide open pit window. Ryan Patty still has yet to come to pit road. He continues to run this long, and now we get into the conversation. Making it would be tough, but not impossible. Patty's got the car off here. All right, game on, says Ryan Patty as James Catrone makes his pit stop. Game on, says Ryan Patty. He might try to stretch this. He had the clutch in right there in turn one. He had the car off. Trailer and Hayden, they may be trying this too. If they can make it to lap 102. You hear how early Patty's rolling out of the corner. With that onboard shot right there. If they can make it to lap 102, they can make it on just the one pit stop. I severely doubt they can make it that far. I'd imagine Patty is just trying to see how far he can go before he does have to bring that car to pit road. Brandon Beauchamp, speaking of, and Ron Walters have both done so on lap 89. Patty continues to lead. Matt Hayden is going to give it up right here as well. Hayden, Bourbonier, Eldred, Modesty, Beauchamp, and Walters all on pit road tells me that Patty and Trailer, it's only a matter of time here before those two make their pit stops. Drew Little, by the way, continues to lead the way over Harold Watkins. It is about a 2.8 second lead for the Andrew Little machine. The undercut so far working its magic. David Trailer is on pit road, and that leaves the points leader as the only car to have not made a pit stop on this opening run. He's going to let Steven Racek go to the outside, and that tells me we're about to see the leader on pit road this time around. By the way, Andrew Little's last lap was 3.5 tenths faster. This is not going to pan out in terms of track position for Ryan Patty. Will it pan out in the pit strategy? That part remains to be seen. Patty's on pit road. He'll maintain the lead for now, as Little and Watkins and company will have to all go around another time to get back past him. The lead is up to 3 seconds, by the way, for Andrew Little. He has driven away. And again, all of a sudden, depending on pit strategy, this race has fallen squarely into the lap of Andrew Little and the Waterford Concept Chevrolet. So Ryan, turn 4. Now the question becomes, will he have to pit again? And if so, or will he have to pit inside of 10 to go? That becomes the question. This is the exact problem that Harold Watkins had last week at Dover, as he had to pit late, give up the lead, and come to pit road and sacrifice the win in that race, trying to work pit strategy. 3 seconds to lead for Andrew Little, and it continues to grow. Ryan Patty is 5 seconds back of the leaders. Now, if he gets back to the lead and can make it on only one more stop, this race is likely all said and done. I'm just not positive that Little and Watkins are going to make this strategy work, unless they anticipate they can go longer on this run, which would put them in the range to make it. But they have to go the same length that Ryan Patty just did on this run. They'd have to go 45 laps. They'd have to make it to, well, no, they'd have to make it to about 118. They pit on lap 75, they would have to make it to about 118 to make it the rest of the way. Ron Walters has gone a lap down on pit road. Steven Racek is 4 spots ahead of him, so if the race ended right now, the battle for the points would be settled. Andrew Little continues to lead, though, by 3 seconds over Harold Watkins. Really, there are no other battles happening right now on the speedway as they run. 56 to go. Already approaching the lap 100 mark, and it's only 9:30 p.m. on the East Coast. This one is going to get done a little bit earlier than usual tonight. This thing stays civil. Let's take you through the schedule in the postseason. Again, that starts next week. The chase will be set tonight. 16 drivers will make the postseason for the Challenger Cup Series, where the points will reset. And next week, we begin that postseason run in Nashville, 140 laps. As Nashville heads to the country music capital of the world for the opener in the chase. After that, it's a trip to the Irish Hills of Michigan in what should be an exhilarating race. That track always a fun one in this Gen 7 race car. To race and watch 100 laps there in the Irish Hills coming up in 2 weeks. Then it's a trip to the Tricky Triangle. The championship race from Season 1 of 2025 will play host to the middle race of the chase this year. The San Diego date will be replaced by Twin Ring Motegi, 134 laps in Japan, coming up on June the 23rd. And then Sonoma, the road course, wraps us up with the championship race on June 30th. That is how the chase will look in Season 1. Of course, then, not really any break. Season 2 will begin the week after that in Chicagoland, Echo Park, North Wilkesboro, Indy, Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, Daytona, Darlington, Gateway, Bristol, Kansas, and Las Vegas, the regular season before Season 2. That's a lot of fun racetracks, by the way. The chase, perhaps even more fun. Charlotte, Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, Homestead is the chase for Season 2. That should be a very fun one. And then the Fall Brawl coming up after that, it will be Pro 2s at Martinsville. Back in the battle for second because Ryan Patty has run down Harold Watkins for that spot. To the inside goes Patty. This is for P2. Watkins will try to defend. About to cross the 100-lap threshold at Charlotte. He'll slide across the nose of the Ghost Chevrolet and now set his sights on the race leader, Andrew Little. Patty with the win, number 7. Oh, but some technical issues for the points leader here. A little bit of blinking going on for Patty, but so far, all good. We'll see if that affects him here in just a moment. If iRacing deems that he needs to go to the pit road for the dreaded connection flag, that is a relatively new feature on the iRacing service in the past year or so. It's essentially a black flag for connection problems. See if that comes back to bite him a little bit here in just a moment. Battle is going on for 4th, by the way. Would be Hayden and Trailer, all nose to tail. Turn 4, Hayden to the outside. This is for 4th. Woodbee's tires have fallen off. He was one of the first ones to come down pit road. He actually was the first one to come down pit road. Matt Hayden on fresher tires. So is David Trailer. Hayden makes the pass there. Trailer almost got slid up on by his teammate Woodbee. Back down to turn 3. Hayden forward to the 4th spot. Trailer forward to 5th. That battle concludes. Another one begins. Trailer working on Hayden. This will be for 4th. As both cars try to run down Harold Watkins. Off turn 2, now the back straightaway. 58 laps to go at Charlotte again. For Harold Watkins and Andrew Little to make it, we anticipate that they would have to make it to lap 118. On this run, we anticipate that Ryan Patty can go as far as lap 135, if not further than that. For Watkins and Little and Woodbee to make this work, they're going to have to go at least another 14 laps before they come back to pit road and try to undercut. It would put them in a better spot track position-wise if they can make it to that point. It likely would be Little versus Watkins for the win. They got to make it there first. 14 laps away from that number, and Patty continues to run down Andrew Little for the time being. 105 will go on the board this time by 46 to go. Sorry, 56 to go. At Charlotte Motor Speedway, NASCAR's backyard, America's home for racing. If you're just joining us, Challenger Cup Series, race 14 of Season 1 of 2026. Regular season finale from Charlotte Motor Speedway. As we not only race to determine the chase, but also pay tribute to Kyle Busch. A pair of tributes there on your screen. Matt Hayden running Conquest and colors. The trailer donning the Skittles, red, white, and blue Toyota Camry this week. 2 seconds flat between the leader Andrew Little and Ryan Patty, who runs behind him. As Matt Hayden runs down Harold Watkins for the 3rd spot. And all eyes now are on the Little and Watkins machines and when they opt to come to pit road. We know that they have to pit. I know that everybody does at least one more time, but we're waiting to see if Andrew Little and Harold Watkins can stretch and get to lap 118 and make it the rest of the way. Turn 2, 43 to go, 53 to go here at Charlotte. Again, this is the back half of this race, approaching the final quarter, by the way, already. We have had no cautions for incidents tonight. 108 laps in, the only caution flag of the night has been for the end of stage 1, back on lap 40. Other than that, 109 laps of green flag racing tonight. If this race were to finish under the green flag, it would be the first Challenger Cup Series race with no incident cautions. I'd have to go back and double check this, at least since one of the road courses, I mean obviously not counting the road courses that don't have the full course cautions. It'd be the first oval race without a caution for incident in some time here in the Challenger Cup Series. Not to say that these races are caution fests. Typically only has 2 or 3 cautions for incident, but to not have one at all is something we have not done in a little while. Battle for 3rd, contact. Watkins on the outside, Hayden on the inside. These two are racing hard here in turns 3 and 4 for the 3rd position. David Traylor has worked into this as well. 50 laps to go and only 7 laps away from the target lap for Watkins and Little to make it the rest of the way and everybody to make it on one stop. I believe that Matt Hayden and David Traylor are the faster cars here. They got the newer tires. Hayden may make the pass right here in turn 3. Tries to throttle up through the center of the corner, side by side. These cars continue to work off turn 4. Traylor will stay to the outside with Watkins. And Watkins will maintain the spot. Traylor knocks the wall. Hayden drops back to 5th. For the time being, his trailer now works on Watkins for 3rd. Ryan Patty's within 1.4 seconds of Andrew Little, but here's the problem for Ryan Patty if he continues to run long. Oh, most trouble. Watkins is loose on the bumper of Traylor. He's up into Hayden. Somehow everybody saves it and we keep going straight. What a save for Harold Watkins. He's going to drop 3 spots. But his race car's intact and we stay green, 48 to go. Woodby gets by him as well. That was for 5th. Big moment there, but back to Ryan Patty. Man, Watkins knocks the wall down and now destroys the right front. Harold Watkins, a critical development in this race as he's going to go around and bring the caution out. And everything I said about Ryan Patty perhaps being in a bad spot, throw it out the window now. As Harold Watkins got the wall off turn 2. His car worked up the racetrack. He knocks down the fence, gets loose, hits the wall a second time, and spins the car to a stop on the entrance of turn 3. It brings out the first incident caution of the night. Again, if this thing had gotten to that pit number, I think it would have been advantage Andrew Little. Now, it's advantage to the points leader, as everyone will be on the same footing. Just 45 to go at Charlotte. Come down pit road. As they do, I did not get a chance to do this earlier. We are going to do it now. As NASCAR does it halfway, we'll take a moment here and break for a moment of silence, not only in honor of Kyle Busch, to honor his family, but also to all those who have served and continue to serve our country and those who've given the ultimate sacrifice. We're going to have a quick moment of silence here at Charlotte Motor Speedway before we have this late restart. Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, just 44 laps to go when we take the green flag. Ryan Patty won the race on pit road. And we'll restart on the outside of the front row. Andrew Little will restart second. David Traylor and Matt Hayden back on row 2 with Clinton Woodby and Cody Eldred on row 3. James Catrone and Bill Gartner on row 4, and then Rusty Modesty and Greg Bermanier round out the top 10. Harold Watkins will restart in 13th position. For the Racek and Walters battle for the final points position in the chase, Racek continues to run in the 11th position. Walters is 17th, one lap down. He'll need a bit of a miracle here. Make it happen. He'll need a couple more cautions, get back on the lead lap, and then have to run down Steven Racek and hope he has some misfortune towards the end of this race. 44 to go. The final quarter, basically, of this one from Charlotte. About to get underway. Andrew Little and Ryan Patty bring the field on to the front straightaway and into the Echo Park restart zone. Pace car will dive to the safety of pit road. This is when the race got crazy last year. Will it do so again this time around? Green flag back in the air, and away we go towards turn 1. Bit of tire spin, couple cars get a little bit squirrely, but everyone's off and rolling. Trailer to the inside of Little, that's 3 wide for second. It fans out to 2 wide. Patty's away with the lead as Andrew Little drops back and sees the chance at the wind start to go up in smoke. Contact there as Little got the wall. He also got Matt Hayden. Meanwhile, up front, here's David Traylor for the lead in 3. This is when it got nuts in last year's race. Almost 3 wide off turn 4. Woodby to the inside of Hayden and Andrew Little looking for third as Traylor noses ahead for the lead. Maybe some paint trade between the 2 leaders. Patty on the inside. Traylor aggressive on the outside. The Skittles Toyota Camry donning the colors of Kyle Busch goes to the lead at Charlotte with just 43 to go. Patty dives back to the inside. Another Kyle Busch tribute paint scheme. Matt Hayden works into the fray as well. Trailer to the race lead. 42 to go at the line. What a win this would be if David Trailer could take home his 3rd win of the season. After such a tough weekend for the racing world, how fitting it would be if the Skittles Toyota donned victory lane. 42 to go to be 41 at the line. Is Ryan Patty saving tire, though? Becomes the question. 41 to go, lap 120 on the board. Andrew Little dropped all the way to 4th in the exchange on the restart. Harold Watkins is up to 10th. Don't count him out yet, by the way. He's just behind Rusty Modesty and will work into this fray momentarily. Damages fixed aboard that Ghost Chevrolet. He's not out of this thing either. Back to turn 3. It settles down for a quick moment as David Trailer attempts to win at Charlotte. It would be his 3rd win of the season. And with Clinton Woodby running 6th, it would be interesting to see how the points pan out headed to Nashville next week. Between those two, a potential switch for the 2nd spot in the standings. Under 40 to go at Charlotte. Trailer past the line, still ahead of Patty, Hayden, Eldred, Little, the rest of the top 5. Patty starts to close in now, though, as the short run transitions to the long run. Ryan Patty starts to track down David Trailer. Matt Hayden is still in this conversation, though, in the 5. Hayden has not won since Talladega last year in October. Trailer's last win at Martinsville back in the month of April. Patty's closing. Watkins trying to get himself into this conversation. But he's only gotten as far as 10th. He's now making the pass on Catrone for 9th. How hard does David Trailer play defense? Here comes Ryan Patty. Is Andrew Little saving a little bit of tire here? Patty to the fence, into the clean air. He's going to get a big run here off turn 2. And goes right up the back bumper of David Trailer. Does he dive in? He does. Trailer runs the middle. Now throws some bad air across Patty's nose. And the aero blocking begins. Much in the same fashion that Daniel Suarez was able to hold off the faster Gibbs cars and win the Coke 600 back on Sunday. David Trailer is in the same situation tonight at Charlotte, trying to hold off the best in the business in Ryan Patty. So far, so good. By the way, this is going to draw Matt Hayden into this conversation, perhaps Eldred and Andrew Little into this conversation as well. Eldred looking for win number 1 of his career tonight at Charlotte. Could tonight be the night? Patty drops a couple of car lengths. Little to the inside of Eldred. That's for 4th. So leaders work back to turn 1. 35 to go. Crunch time. Andrew Little trying to make this pass happen quick. He knows he's got a good long run car, but he's got to stay in range of the leaders to get to that long run. Slider trying to make it work on Eldred. Can't do it. Eldred continues to maintain right rear position on Andrew Little. Little cuts the short chute, though, here on the front stretch. Is Eldred still hanging? A little bit, maybe, but Andrew Little should take that spot solidly here in turn 1, and he does. To move Andrew Little to 4th, he can now focus ahead. Ryan Patty's dropped another few car lengths to David Trailer here. It's 0.4 of a second the difference. Ryan Patty starts to feel the pressure from Matt Hayden from behind. 33 to go. Trailer past the line. He continues to lead the way. And you know that so many are rooting for the 54 car, knowing the paint scheme that's on it. And if you're Trailer, how much would you love to win this race? Back down to the start-finish line, 32 to go. Pit stops, by the way, done and over with. We assume that the field can make it 45 laps on fuel. This one will be clean, green, and wide open all the way to the end. David Traylor is your leader, a two-time winner in 2026, looking to make it 3. Ryan Patty looking for the extra point to make it 7 wins here in 2026. Matt Hayden looking for win number 1 of the season. Same with Andrew Little behind him and Cody Eldred, who is currently getting passed by Clinton Woodby. Move Clinton Woodby to 5th. Bill Gardner is on his horse. How about the 26 all of a sudden? Coming on late. He wants a top 5 finish at Charlotte. Be his first top 5, I believe, in Challenger Cup Series competition. Now, the problem is he's got a hard-charging Harold Watkins behind him. Watkins is not going to have enough time, I don't think. I don't believe he's going to have the time. The issue coming up for Ryan Patty, if indeed he is saving tire, how far out do you let David Traylor get before you go back and track him down? Can't let him get too far out or you're not going to have enough time to go back and get him. And Andrew Little is slowly working into this conversation as well. If you're Patty, you might have to hit the go button here. As much as you may not want to, you may not have a choice. Off turn 4, inside of 30 laps to go at America's Home for Racing. 29 laps remain as David Traylor tries to hold on for dear life. Off turn 2, Traylor, Patty, Hayden Little would be the top 5. As Patty closes in. But so does Andrew Little. He's a little further back, though. He's got some work to do. He's hoping that David Traylor makes Ryan Patty's life hard right here and gives him another chance at a win, a mulligan. Before that caution came out for Harold Watkins, it appeared to me as if Andrew Little was in the driver's seat to take home a victory on that last pit cycle if everything went his way. Now, with just 28 to go, it appears as if Ryan Patty is the man in the catbird seat. Little loses some time there as he works on Matt Hayden for 3rd. He's got to make this quick if he wants any chance at winning. Ryan Patty is almost to the back bumper of David Traylor for the lead. Off turn 4, he's got to make it happen in the next couple of laps if he wants another opportunity at this victory. Hayden arrow blocks, goes right to the wall. Little has to lift. Meanwhile, Ryan Patty has run down David Traylor. This, the battle for the win in Charlotte. Traylor arrow block down to the bottom. Leaves Patty a headlight, though, to get some good air across the front end, but has to lift. His car pushes off turn 4, and he drops a car lane. These two focusing on each other will draw Hayden and Little into the conversation. And how familiar is this from last year, when John Velocity and Harold Watkins focused too much on each other, and it gave Justin Malarkey a chance to win this race in the final moments. This race starting to pan out the same. Patty another deep drive into turn 3. Traylor again arrow blocks. Again Patty pushes up the racetrack. And again it's 2.5 tenths between the two. 25 to go. Traylor trying to hold on for what would be a feel-good victory tonight. Patty trying to get win number 7 in place. Spoiler, Andrew Little is frustrated from 4th place behind Matt Hayden as he wants that spot so desperately to go trying to catch these leaders. Back to turn 3. 24 to go at the line. Patty to the outside this time. He'll get that big arcing run off turn 4. Hayden closing in, Little closing in on him. Patty back to the back bumper. Again, they work back to turn 1. Now where do they go? Traylor worked up. Patty worked up higher to the fence. He'll get a big arcing run here off turn 2. Or will he? Traylor stuck the bottom. And again, now he'll go to the bottom of the arrow block as Patty went back down to his preferred lane. Off turn 4, 3 tenths separate the leaders. 23 to go. Andrew Little around the outside of Matt Hayden for 3rd. Don't count him out yet. Andrew Little, the fastest long run car on the last run. Trying to make it happen again. Should complete the pass right here back down to turn 3. And now he can focus forward, but does he have enough time? He can go back to the bottom now, the fastest way around this racetrack, and try to run these guys down. Does he have enough time? 22 laps around Charlotte left to go. Ryan Cunningham going to pose a threat to the leader. Here's a lap car. Trailer will go to the bottom. Patty, be surprised if he didn't go to the top. He does not. He goes to the bottom instead. And it's a half-second buffer now as Trailers hit the go button. And Patty catches the lap car at a bad time. It's going to lose him a little bit more time even and mess up his entry just a little to turn 3. 6/10 back. Trailer driving away. 21 laps to go. Can he get the job done for the 3rd time this year? No more lap traffic between him and Ryan Patty. Clean track ahead of the leaders. We're going to fight it out in the old-fashioned way. Trailer continues to surge away from the field. He'll see 20 to go this time by. Little as 1.5 seconds back. He's not gaining anything right now. 8/10 back. Does Ryan Patty know something that Trailer doesn't? Do these guys have to save a little bit of gas? Trailer for now continues to just run his pace. He's 8/10 ahead of Ryan Patty. What he's doing right now, if he does have to save, he's building a heck of a buffer to do it. Almost 8.5 Did Ryan Patty burn his stuff up on the outside wall, trying to get past the Trailer machine? Back to the bottom goes Trailer. Little as 1.7 seconds back. A distant 3rd place. Watkins, by the way, got all the way to 6th. Is starting to close in on Woodby and Hayden for the 4th spot. So don't count him out yet. I don't think he's got enough laps to get there. Certainly not to the race leader. And they come back 18 laps to go. 9/10 seconds to lead for David Trailer. And at this point for Ryan Patty, if you have been saving, at what point do you start to go? The less laps you have, the more time you'll have to gain later in the race. 8/10, he starts to close back up. But again, last time he got there, but could not make the pass. Trailer was able to successfully defend. Again, the less laps he has, the more time that he only breaks even with David Trailer, which is about what he did right there. May have gained a 10th. The less time he has to make the move. At this rate, he'll get there with still only about 9 laps to go, if not less than that. So again, getting there is one thing, but then he's only going to have about 9 laps to make something happen and potentially go get the victory. Little is a distant 1.7 seconds away. It's mano a mano. It's 2 guys for the win in Charlotte. 16 to go with the line. And Patty breaks even. In fact, he lost a little bit there. 16 to go. Clinton Woodby, by the way, put the pressure on Matt Hayden, but we're going to keep it here in the battle for the win. 7.5 between the 2 leaders. Trailer driving for all he is worth. With 16 to go, trying to get win number 3 on the season in 2026. Again, what a special one this would be. 15 more circuits around Charlotte. The closing stages of the regular season of Season 1 of the Challenger Cup Series in 2026. Down to the final 15. The final 22.5 miles. 7.5. Meanwhile, Clinton Woodby and Matt Hayden battle for 4th. As Trailer continues to push this car to the limit, still 7.5. Ryan Patty is running out of time. 14 to go. It's getting to the point that Patty's going to have to gain at least 0.5 a lap. And then that would only put him there at the white flag. It would not mean that he would make the pass. 8.5. Next time by 13 to go. Woodby got around Matt Hayden. That was for the 4th spot. So he'll try to close on Andrew Little for a podium position, which would be a heck of a run for the rookie. But the rookie in focus is David Trailer. A shock win in Atlanta, followed by a race he stole at Martinsville, and he'd tell you that himself, as he stole it away from, ironically, Ryan Patty, who ran out of gas off turn 4. And that closed the race. Now Patty's starting to gain some time. The lead down to just 7/10. 12 laps to go. Does Trailer have enough steam to make it all the way back around? Will they get to battling? Will Andrew Little have a say in this? Will Clinton Woodby have a say in this? Watkins, the best he's going to be able to do, I think, is 5th. After a race that he led so many laps in. 0.6 of a second the difference. Now Patty's starting to pick up the delta. But now again it drops. Again, another good 3 and 4 from Trailer right there, and it's back up towards 0.8 of a second. 11 laps to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Can David Trailer complete what would be a Herculean final 40 laps of this race? Under 7/10 again. He's still got to be nearly perfect to beat the best in the series in Ryan Patty. It's under 6/10 now. Patty's closing in, but Trailer runs low in 3 and 4, and that's going to prevent it. That's going to provide an issue for Ryan Patty, who has not run the top lane much tonight. He's not been up there a ton in this race. Trailer running a diamond almost, kind of an arcing line in both ends of the racetrack, and it's paying dividends now, only 5.5 tenths. But again, is Patty gaining enough time? He's going to get there, but it's single digits between, in terms of laps that Patty will have to make something happen. He loses a ton of time in 3 and 4 every time by the start-finish line. Single digits, 9 laps to go. Patty within 6/10. He continues to chip away. But is it enough? Does he have enough laps? Now he's going to go to the fence. So now he's going to change his approach. He'll go to the fence and see if he can't use some clean air to get there. Inside 6/10. Patty will, or rather Trailer will see this in his mirror and perhaps change his approach to throw some dirty air on Patty's car. Now Patty goes back to the bottom, and again he loses time here off turn 4. Now he lost a little bit less that time, but with only 8 laps to go, it's nearly 1/10 a second that Patty needs to gain to get there. Back to turn 1. Trailer runs the middle this time. Patty runs the bottom, and now loses some on exit of turn 2. Has Patty run out of steam? It's not a sentence we've said a lot here in 2026. Within 5/10. Clinton Woodby, by the way, just passed Andrew Little for 3rd. He's hard charging, but he's not going to get to the leaders. 7 to go. Patty still needs nearly 1/10 a lap. He needs about 0.08 of a second per lap to get there. Trailer picks up time off exit. It's back to half a second. The less laps Patty has, the more time he needs per lap to get there. David Trailer trying to complete a victory at Charlotte to end off the season. It's back over half a tenth. 6 laps to go. It's about an 8-car length difference. You just can't make a mistake. Patty runs the bottom. Breaks even that time off turn 2 and loses a bunch on exit. Patty's handling's gone away a little bit on exit. He was one of the better cars center off earlier in the race. It's just not been there for him here late, but now gains a ton right there in 3 and 4. Loses it again, about 4.5 tenths. He picked up about a half a tenth there. 5 laps to go, a 5 out the flag stand from Barney the Flagman. It's still almost half a second. Patty goes back to the bottom. So does Trailer. That time, Patty broke even. In fact, he starts to gain. Now he's closing in the final 5. Is it enough? Is it enough time? Trailer's going to start to aero block as well. That's going to start to have an aero impact. It did right there. Patty pushed tight. And 4.5 tenths again. 4 laps to go. Back to turn 1. Again, they both run the bottom. Again, it's that arcing line from Trailer. He's able to carry so much speed off the corner and able to put some aero wash on Patty's car. And Patty's just been unwilling to go back to the fence. This time, Patty runs up, but Trailer runs up a little bit on entry, and that prevents Patty from being able to turn the center of the corner. 3 more times around. Patty needs 1/10 and a half per lap. 3 to go at Charlotte. Trailer back to turn 1. Patty trying to get there. If they get back around, it's popsicle sticks out the flag stand. Patty starting to fade just a little bit. Back to turn 3. David Traylor continues to lead the way. By the way, Woodby and Little have separated by about a second. Watkins is up to 5th. 2 laps to go at Charlotte for David Traylor. Missed his line a little bit there on entry, but I think he'll be able to maintain on exit. And Patty is fading. Traylor back to turn 3. And as he comes off turn 4, this race will be made official. White flag is up. 1 lap to go. Back to turn 1. He's still got to hit his marks. Patty is still the best in the game. Back to the fence goes Patty. He fades even more. You can call it whatever you'd like to. Call it willpower. Call it adjustments. Call it track temp. Call it divine intervention. Herculean stage 2 from David Traylor, and in the style of Rowdy Busch, David Traylor wins at Charlotte, donning the Skittles colors. It's as special as it gets. And nothing else needs to be said. Traylor we'll burn it down. You know, oftentimes, racing is so unique compared to other sports. And other sports have storybook moments too, but racing is so unique because they happen so organically. And for David Traylor tonight, your first win is always fun. Obviously, Martinsville, chaotic and storybook in its own right. But tonight, the paint scheme on the car, the effort that he put in the final 40 laps of this race to hold off the best driver in the series this year, a guy who's won 6 times, including the last 3, in Ryan Patty, who has dominated this season. For Traylor to hold him off and then pull away in the final 40 laps is as special a moment as you will ever see in racing in the Kyle Busch paint scheme. We'll go through the results. We'll get to talk to your top 3 after what was a fun night in Charlotte and one that had a really special ending that is leaving me struggling to find the words. How fitting is that? As David Traylor comes away a winner tonight at Charlotte ahead of Ryan Patty. Clinton Woodby finishes in 3rd. Andrew Little finishes 4th, with Harold Watkins recovering to finish in the 5th spot. Matt Hayden goes 6th. Bill Gartner goes 7th. Cody Eldred goes 8th, with Kevin Gunther in 9th. And Greg Bourbonier finishes in the 10th spot. James Catrone 11th. Rusty Modesty 12th. Stephen Rasick will be postseason racing, by the way, officially locking up his spot in the top 16. He goes 13th, with Brandon Beauchamp in 14th. Steve Potter in 15th. Ron Walters in 16th. And Brian Cunningham finishes in 17th position. Well, let's start with the man in victory lane. Who better? The man sitting on the front stretch at the start-finish line, and a special night, a special ending. We'll talk to him about that final 40 laps and what this one means as we leave Charlotte Motor Speedway. A storybook, a heartfelt, a special win for David Traylor. David, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you, Dawson.
Well, not many wins that I've seen in a long time are more special than this one. You know, obviously, Stage 2 gets broken up by a caution. You know, we're going to go through this final 40 laps to not only drive to the lead, but then to hold off the best guy in the series all year, a guy who was looking for his 7th win and his 4th win in a row. take me through what it took to get to victory lane tonight in those final 45 laps.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to him a second ago. I knew that that dirty air in these cars, really kind of any car at this point, can just absolutely destroy your momentum, destroy your run, destroy your tires. So I knew I wanted to get out early. So I kind of committed to it. Kind of made a move on a restart to put the 68 3 wide. It was aggressive, but I felt like I had to do that if I wanted the track position. And then yeah, I know Ryan's fast. We're all chasing him all year long. But just I saw going down the backstretch that he was going to protect the bottom, and I knew had a couple laps to get it done. If I didn't do it then, I was never going to get around him. So just kind of let it all hang out. Finally got in front of him, and then tried to get a little bit of a cushion, and then just kind of ride. There was a couple of times there where I could see him coming in the mirror. I try to tell myself not to look at the relative, but with a guy like that behind you, you got to know where he's at so you can be ready for it. Definitely guilty of a little aero blocking. I was kind of running my line. I would aero block a little bit, a little shallower entry, but no, just got out front, decided to pace myself while keeping some speed in it. I knew having the clean air was a huge advantage, and rode that all the way to the finish.
Well, look, obviously we saw the paint scheme coming into tonight, and such a tough week for the racing community this week. Take me through what this one means for you to don the Skittles colors this week, to come to Charlotte, a place that Kyle Busch won so many times. Take me through what it means to win this one tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely part of the club where I wasn't a huge Kyle Busch fan in the 2010s, but over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, I've definitely grown to like him more. You can't ignore him. Obviously, he's hugely respected, and he eventually became one of my favorite drivers. I've got one of his signed diecasts right here behind me. But yeah, I put the Kyle Busch scheme on, and just try to not crash it. I know he wasn't afraid to bend some street metal, but no, it's really cool. I know this has been a pretty somber weekend for the motorsports community, but it is cool to get a win in the KB colors.
Well, we turn the page to the postseason now. A good regular season for you ends on a high note. 3 wins across the first 14 races of this season, and a top 3 seed in the standings heading into the chase starting next week at Nashville. Kind of take me through what your expectation is here for postseason racing for the first time for you in the Challenger Cup Series.
Hopefully we can carry this momentum. Maybe I'm getting hot at the right time. That'd be really cool. I don't know. I think I just had a good executed race here tonight, but hopefully I can carry this momentum into next week. The tracks ahead are all pretty different. Nashville is pretty tough. It's especially in these cars, you got to be careful killing that right front. But Michigan and Pocono are fun. And then Motegi and Sonoma are kind of wild cards. We can kind of go either way there. But no, I feel like I've got a pretty good shot. It's going to take races like this throughout the entire chase if I want to beat Ryan. So we're gonna go out there and try. But this is a really good start to go into the chase next week.
And in the regular season off with a bang. Before we let you go, you got an opportunity here as we get to prepare for postseason racing. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, they're not on the car this week, but obviously huge thank you to the main supporter of mine, QH Design. Colton, the guys over there at QH are awesome supporters of mine, supporters of iRacing. If you need any hats, shirts, designs, decals, vinyls, reach out to Colton over to the guys over at QH. They can get you hooked up. Big thank you to the admins for putting this league on. Coming in here on Tuesdays, it helps break my week up a little bit. So this is a really cool league, and I'm really thankful that they let me come in here and race with them. Big thank you to you for putting the broadcast on. I love going back and watching them. They are one of the best on YouTube, for sure. So I can't wait to go back and watch this one. It makes it a little sweeter knowing the result, but big thank you to you for doing that for us. Obviously, shout out to Ryan and Clinton on the podium with me. Like I said, those guys kept me honest. If I would have slipped up, they would have been right there with me. So huge shout out to them. And then big thanks to my dad watching home and my wife for letting me do this.
Well, David, congratulations on the win. Thanks for your time tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you for the first race of the Chase next week in Nashville.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dawson.
David Traylor, winner tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway, and what a special win that it is for him in the Skittles Toyota Camry. We'll move to the man who finished second, and we'll head in to next week as the regular season champion and the number one championship contender. As he'll head in as the number one seed to Nashville, Ryan Patty finishes second tonight, just short of his 7th win of the season, but surely a lot of good coming out of this regular season for the driver of the Fast House Chevy. Ryan, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, obviously led a lot of laps tonight, started towards the tail end, got up front, and once you got up front, it felt like things were going your way. The last 45 laps, you get all the way to the back bumper of David Traylor. It just wasn't enough. Take me through what happened there and what more you could have done to make it one spot better tonight for win number 7.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like we had the short run speed in the car tonight. With the car being as tight as it was, especially as it got later in the evening and the track cooled off, the car just got tighter and tighter. So it really had the advantage in the long run, which was obviously my strength tonight. Being able to chip away after about 30 to 40 laps, and I probably should have been a little bit more patient there in the last run. It was about 20 laps in, maybe a little less, and I'd given up the track position because I didn't want to burn up my tires out in the lead. And just riding in his tire tracks, David was really good about running the low line, hooking the bottom to try to wrap the paint. And I don't think there's much more I could have done. If I pressed any harder, I was really going to tear up the tires and probably would have fallen back more. And maybe if I waited longer and let him get out there a little bit, would have had some clean air for a little while, and then be able to run him down late in the run. But you never know how these runs are going to go. We got 1 or 2 cautions there. It would have tightened us back up, and then everything goes out the window. So probably going to second guess this one for a while. But hats off to David. I mean, he ran a flawless race there. Especially that last stint, rocket fast on the bottom, and really earned it.
Postseason racing now lays ahead, though. Obviously, it will leave Charlotte as the regular season champion and the number one seed in the chase. Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, Motegi, and Sonoma await as you try to win your first Challenger Cup Series championship. What's it going to take over the next 5 weeks for you to leave Sonoma as the champion?
Mainly just staying clean. Wrecks can really kill you, especially in a postseason as short as this one. I mean, 5 races, you wreck once, you're pretty much done for. So, just making sure no contact with everybody else, wreck avoidance, and just being smooth and hopefully find my way to the front.
Obviously, real quick here before we get to the shout-outs and thank yous, a somber week for the racing community this week. I want to keep it on a bit of a lighter note, though. Do you have a favorite Kyle Busch memory here as we get ready to leave Charlotte?
I'm not afraid to admit Kyle Busch wasn't my cup of tea from a race fan perspective, and that's probably not an abnormal opinion, right? He was a bit rough around the edges, but that's what his fans loved about him, right? So sports need personalities like that aren't afraid to tell it like it is, and it's not going to be for everybody. But what I will say is, as the days have gone on here since the tragedy happened, I have become a fan of Kyle Busch as a man and as a father and husband, and everything you hear about, behind the scenes in his personal life and things that he did. So, I mean, some of the moments throughout the years were, made me chuckle more than anything. One thing that comes to mind is that first race with the car tomorrow when he won it at Bristol, gets out of the car, and the first thing he said was, "These cars are terrible and they suck." Obviously, NASCAR didn't really take that too kindly, but I mean, that's just the kind of guy he was not afraid to speak his mind, even if it was going to be unpopular. So, like I said, became a fan, more recently of who he became as a man, and always got everyone's attention on the track. Whether he was winning races or saying things that other people might hold inside.
Well, Ryan, second for you tonight in Charlotte, the regular season champion here in this first season of 2026. So before we let you go and get prepped for a potential championship run, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for putting the broadcast on this week. We missed you a couple of weeks there. It's not the same when you're not here, so glad to have you here. again, thanks to everyone that puts this league on. We've brought some new people in this season. Hopefully, the league continues to grow because it's really been a blast, and the competition's gotten better and better every week. So really enjoy this and everyone that contributes to the league. And as always, thanks to my family, my wife for taking care of the baby tonight, so I can come down here and race. I love you, and appreciate everything you do.
Ryan, congrats on the second place finish tonight. Thanks for the time. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you for the opener of the Chase next week in Nashville.
Yeah, you bet, Dawson. We'll see you there.
Ryan Patty, second tonight for him in Charlotte, the regular season champion in this first season of 2026 in the Challenger Cup Series. We'll move now to the final man on the podium. Teammate to David Traylor, it's Clinton Woodby that comes home third. He secures a top 3 seed in the postseason, a pair of rookies in the top 3 in points headed into the postseason. We'll see what he's got to say about tonight, and also look forward to the Chase starting next week in Nashville. It's Clinton Woodby finishing third tonight in NASCAR's backyard. Clinton, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, a wild one tonight at Charlotte. It ends with a third-place finish for you. It felt like you came on strong there at the end. Take me through your night at Charlotte, how you ended up with a third-place finish.
Yeah, I think I was fastest on that last run than I was all night. I kind of hit the pits early just because I decided to fall back and try to save tires after stage, and kind of just seemed like that trapped me in dirty air. So I just tried to pit as soon as we could to just make it to the end. Try to maybe force some other people into the pits and just maybe create a little chaos among strategies or something, whatever might cause us to gain some positions. And then, there at the end, I got past Matt, and I didn't really think I was going to be able to catch Andrew. I was back and forth between downshifting in the corners and not downshifting, trying to stay good on fuel. And then, honestly, I thought Andrew was going to put up a hell of a fight all the way to the end, and I got around him, and it was 2-second gap to second, so I just kind of chilled there and just maintained. So we'll just take home a P3 tonight.
Well, P3 good enough to vault you into that top 3 seed in the postseason starting next week at Nashville. So let's look forward to that. Obviously, a heck of a rookie campaign for you in the regular season. You enter in as the 3rd overall seed in the Chase next week at Nashville. What are you gonna try to do to put yourself in the championship conversation over the next 5 weeks?
We're just going to go out there and try to win as many races as we can, or as many seconds or thirds or whatever it takes. I missed out on an extra point tonight because I went through the grass a little bit, so missed out on 1 point. I think I lost second to David by 3 points, so a little bit more stage points or something, maybe I would have been able to keep second, but we'll see if we can finish ahead of him after the playoffs are all said and done.
Well, look, obviously this week, tough for the racing community, so I want to ask you what I asked Ryan a moment ago as well. Are there any, Kyle Busch memories or things about Kyle Busch that come to mind as we leave Charlotte after a somber weekend?
Yeah, this has been a tough news for me to handle. It was, I'm a Kyle Busch hater. So it was kind of being like, you're never happy somebody's dead, ever. And it's like, at the same time, you're glad the competition's not there, but at the same time, you wanted him to just live it out, retire it out, race it out, do it the right way. I would say any Kyle Busch fan could be me for the couple times I was at Bristol, they would love it. I was there for the first sweep. That was that was the first year I ever got to go to a Cup Series race and got to see him win all 3 races. And then I got to see the other sweep at Bristol. I was there for that. He's took out my favorite driver a time or two. I was a Dale Jr. fan, the whole Richmond ordeal, that kind of, I already had the quote unquote hate, I guess, even though I really, never hate anybody, but the whole Ron Hornaday ordeal, that kind of did it over for me way back in the day. So everything else just kind of played its part after that. But yeah, I'll be sad to see him go and miss seeing him out there on the racetrack for sure.
Well, it's third for you tonight in Charlotte as we head into the Chase next week. A top 3 seed in the points and certainly in the conversation to be in the championship fight headed to Sonoma here in 5 weeks' time. Before we let you go, Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend Megan as always, and Blair Peterson, the Win and Bid Diecast. Go get all your NASCAR diecast memorabilia and everything from him, and Colton Hardy, QH Design. Go get all your T-shirts and signs and all your other NASCAR merchandise from him, and you guys for putting on the broadcast in the league.
Clinton, thanks for the time. Congratulations on a third-place finish tonight in Charlotte. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week for the start of the chase in Nashville. Clinton would be third tonight for him in America's home for racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway. We will start to wind things down tonight. Again, if you missed at the top of the broadcast, it's obviously been a very tough week for the racing community as a whole, and a tough week for all of us race fans, and I think you got it well articulated from all three of those guys right there. Again, just kind of the different perspectives that we've seen this week, but the hurt is the same, and I think coming into tonight, these drivers all felt that after we've all had a very somber weekend to process this news, although it may not process for many of us for a long time. But sports are unique. Sports are so special, and racing especially, just because of the moments that they can create out of situations like this. And so many times over the years we've seen situations happen. Again, my mind takes me back to Dale Earnhardt passes away at the Daytona 500. A week later, Steve Park in one of his cars wins at Rockingham in one of the most special wins ever. And then Kevin Harvick wins in that same car at Atlanta just 3 weeks later. So many times sports and racing especially have a way of having a storybook ending, and what better way for it to happen than tonight? Again, I'm struggling to put together the words, as I was before this race, as to talking about who Kyle Busch was. And if you missed the top of the show, a competitor as fiery as they came. He ruffled feathers everywhere he went for most of his 22-year Cup Series career, and because of that, he had very devoted fans. He had very devoted haters, anti-fans, if you will, and he embraced all of it. He embraced being the villain. He embraced his fan base for as many years as he was on the racetrack. He had a love for his fans. He had a love for his family, although more so than anything. A devoted husband, a loving father to Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox. A charitable worker with the Bundle of Joy Foundation. A racer, a champion, a team owner who has influenced so many drivers in the top 3 series of NASCAR, over 15 drivers. Spent time at Kyle Busch Motorsports, over 3 of them already in full-time Cup Series, equipment, and 3 of them already Cup Series winners. The impact that he's had will go far beyond just what he did behind the wheel of a race car, and boy, he was dang good at that. One of the best wheelmen to ever wheel a race car. 234 wins, 63 Cup wins, 102 O'Reilly wins, 69 Truck Series wins, 234, the most of any man to ever sit in a NASCAR race car across the top 3 series. An impressive racing career, and even more impressive legacy off the track. Kyle Busch leaves massive shoes that will never truly be filled. And what better tribute to him tonight but for David Traylor, carrying the Skittles colors, a paint scheme run by Kyle Busch so many times in his career at Joe Gibbs Racing. What better way to pay tribute than for that car to come across the finish line first and go to victory lane in Charlotte, a place that Kyle Busch won so many times. A fitting tribute, a fitting way to honor, and a fitting way to end what's been such a tough week for so many of us as we mourn the loss of Rowdy Kyle Busch. This one was for him tonight, and there's not much else to say after that. The regular season is over for the Challenger Cup Series. Ryan Patty is your regular season champion, but David Traylor reigns supreme tonight at Charlotte, one of the most special races and special finishes I've ever gotten to call. I want to thank you so much for your attendance tonight. We'll be back next week for the chase from Nashville Super Speedway at 8:30 p.m. here on PGR eSports. Cannot wait to bring you all the action for the postseason as we get ready to go racing once again for the chase and see who's going to become another Challenger Cup Series champion here in 2026. That's going to do it for us tonight. My name is Dawson Wise. You've been watching Challenger Cup Series action from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations to David Traylor on his 3rd victory of the season tonight at America's Home for Racing. We'll see you next week from Nashville. The chase for the championship and the Challenger Cup Series begins 7 days from now. Until then, thanks so much for watching. Good night.